Hey there, I'm James McKinben.
And I'm Dago and I.
And you're listening to This Indie Life. This Indie Life follows a journey of two indie hackers as we navigate the good, the bad and the very ugly, attempting to turn our indie hacker dreams into reality. Dago runs Logology, a logo design service, and has a Twitter course called Dominate Twitter. I run a podcast editing service and a handmade leather wallet side project. Each week you can tune in to see what progress we've made to achieve those dreams. In this episode, we discuss why we've taken a little break from the podcast, if we still like each other, and James explains why he tried to escape to Brazil. Let's get into it. All right, so we're back. We've had a big break in the pod. It was sort of unexpected because even through all of your feeling ill and down and whatnot, you still recorded every week. You showed up and I loved that. But then you just sort of stopped. And I missed it because on the times where I wouldn't have recorded, you still made me record. And I remember that first week where you said, let's not record. I was like, I understand. But it felt a bit empty on my Wednesday evening. How have you been feeling? What have you been doing in the time away?
So I'm basically meditating and journaling and trying to get to the bottom of this burnout. That's basically what I'm doing. And I stopped working for 1 month.
Completely stopped working?
Yeah. I just have my scheduled tweets going out. I still have 1 week of them, so hopefully I'll feel better before the end, but yeah, it's been intense because dude, I had so much shit on my shoulders. At first I was like, oh, it's cool. It's just a burnout. It's not like COVID. So I was happy. But the more I thought about it and realized that I was like, shit, I'm broken. So it started coming back up, all these emotions and feelings. And the positive thing, the thing that I like, now I have this watch that tells me my heart rate.
Yeah.
And I know that when my heart rate is up, it's a bad sign. So I can't fake it. I used to be able to push through. I'm going to push through. And my heart rate was fine. But now because of this breakdown, when I'm not fine, my heart rate just goes crazy and it's fucking me up. So I have to stop. So it's kind of a nice feedback from my body. Am I on the right path or not? So, but yeah, no, to be honest, I feel shit. I'm going to be I love to look at the positive side as always, but I feel dude, I feel I'm dying kind of. It's bad. It's very bad. But with some hope, with feeling I'm digging through something very meaningful, very helpful. And I'm getting rid of tons of behaviors, tons of beliefs that I had about myself that led me to burnout, the pressure I put on myself under and all that, so making a big cleanup here, but with childhood trauma, my mom, my dad, all these terrible things that I don't often talk about, but are the source of everything. And that now I'm I feel like shit, but at the same time, I feel it's necessary to feel like shit for a while.
What's your feeling when you wake up? Because I very much had the feeling of waking up and just in the past depression and mental health troubles, I wake up and I feel just dead. I don't want to do anything. And part of me feels like I'm just making problems, but it's super frustrating. Then I spend the day
making problems.
Yeah, I feel like I've not got any real problems in general in my life. I set everything up. I got a roof over my head. My life is comfortable. And it feels like whenever I get really comfortable, my body just creates problems. So there's no tangible problems, and I wake up and my body goes, you're not going to feel like working. And every time you try to work, your brain's just going to go no. And I don't understand it. And I felt like that recently, and it's been fucking horrible. So for you, when you wake up, how are you feeling? Are you right, okay, today I'm going to do some meditation and dig deep, or are you playing video games, or are you going out on walks?
So I had a phase, for 2 weeks playing lots of video games. And eventually, as I dug deeper, I stopped doing that. And I just started, last week, I'm going to sound like the old me again. But last week, I spent probably 40 hours meditating and journaling. And I'm literally making mind maps of everything in my head to try to understand the source of the burnout. It's not I don't want to do anything. It's that I'm losing Like, basically, I feel like I'm getting rid of so many misconceptions that I had about my motivations and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and all that, because I'm going, at the root of like why I'm doing things, that it's mostly that, like I feel like I'm losing a lot of the past things I was doing. I'm losing connection to that.
You know what? I've had a similar thing. It's probably not as profound as yours, but I met up with a friend today and they were like, how's Indie Bites going? And I was like, I want to do something different. I've like completely managed to change my career in the past 2 years, from doing marketing in a job to working for myself. And now I'm like working for myself, doing exactly what I wanted, in control of my schedule, earning loads of money. And I'm like, I just want to do the wallets instead. It's almost as if my brain will never be happy. Whatever I sort of strive for, I'll get there. And then it'll just decide to be unhappy with that. So with all your digging, what have you sort of figured out for yourself?
What's happening for me now is I don't think it's a problem with what I do,
Okay.
but like with how and why. I still feel like logology or like Twitter or like all these things, I'm like, yeah, I don't think these are the problems. I think the problem is like deeper shit. Like, and so yeah, basically what I've been figuring out is, and it's not something I like to talk about because it makes me seem very weak, so I'm afraid to talk about it. But anyway, that's the thing. So I never had any significant or like even basic support from my parents. Like, I had a roof on my head, but like as soon as I was 18, it was kind of over. And I never felt safe. Like, I always feel like, for example, if I fail with like this startup, I assume I will like be homeless. I used to have backups when I was younger. Because my parents were a bit more supportive. But basically, when I was 20, I think the root of my burnout is something that happened when I was 20, is that I went to Russia, I went to Moscow, where I worked on a startup with a friend of mine for 1 year. That was awesome. Then I come back and I want to do something else. And I talked to my dad and I'm like, yeah, so maybe, I will need your help for a bit. And he's like, oh, no fucking way. Like, no. He's like, no, I'm not fucking helping you. But by that stage in my life, he had already said no to like help me when I was like studying or even pay for my driver's license. But like at this stage, I still believed if I have no resources, there would be like something like a safety net or something. I assumed so. But no. And so I was 20 when I realized that. And my mom, for different reasons, couldn't support me either, mostly because she was, very problematic. With my dad, it was a different kind. It was like complete like abandonment and shit. So basically, long story short, when I was 20, I got hit like a bus. And so what I've been doing in my meditation, like one of the things I did recently is that I realized that this is when my perfectionism problem started.
It's funny how your upbringing / background is almost the complete opposite to mine, where both my parents have always been really supportive, my grandparents very supportive, yet we still end up with problems. So I don't know where mine comes from.
That's very interesting. I agree. That's very interesting.
So acknowledging this for you, do you feel it's helping? Do you feel you've got a long way to go to uncover more stuff? And like, where's the finish line for you? Like, how do you come out of this after this meditation? In what direction do you go?
So I don't know, and that's the scary part. For me, no, but like for Lucy, it's very scary. And the tricky part is like with these things, you never know when it's bottom. You never know. How do you know? You can't be sure. Like for now, I feel like I'm like at kind of bottom, because I've stopped making like big discoveries about my traumas and like repressed experiences for a while.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. So I feel like right now I need to rest to kind of like recharge and integrate everything. But yeah, and then come back. But I don't know in what way I will come back. But I kind of, for example, I'm thinking maybe, which would be weird coming from me and from, the persona that people know me as, is that I'm like, maybe I need a fucking job. Like I don't, like I'm at this level of like, I don't know. I feel like to do this work on myself, I need to not let everything off the table. Like I need to have every option available. Like,
yeah, I want to see you get a job.
Oh no, please no. I will feel so ashamed because like I will feel like I'm betraying everyone who's counting on me for like, yeah, keep going, Dago.
No.
Like, you're giving us hope.
You shouldn't.
Shit.
You shouldn't feel ashamed of it. Like I feel it's like a sensible thing because so many people have said to me that I should get a job, but it's more how much you. I don't want to talk you out of it because I do think it's sensible and a smart option to consider. I do think you'll hate it, but I want you to like go back and do it and just see. Who knows, Dago? You might find a job you absolutely love. I found myself really enjoying this one particular client that I work with, and that's essentially a job. You could
That
call
happens,
it.
yeah.
So yeah, you might love it, but yeah.
But yeah, basically, yeah. When I look very deeply, I'm like, I have so much fear, and I'm feeling so vulnerable of like having no support system in my life, basically, that I feel like that's the number one problem I need to solve. Like I need to solve this feeling and this actual reality of being kind of like naked in the world, like having no safety net of any kind. And I need to address that if I want to make sure burnout doesn't come back and that I can, be sustainable and happy. And I don't know what it's going to look like. Maybe it's going to be a job, maybe no. But like, that's what I'm thinking of.
Are you still getting sales from the course? And are you still sort of scheduling out tweets?
Last month we did, I think, 5K total.
Oh, awesome. Really cool. Logology?
So total. So that means like 4K from the course and like 1K logology or something like that. And actually, there was a good news that came out of it. It's like I literally didn't open Twitter in like 1 month. I didn't lose as much engagement as I feel. I thought I was
yeah, of course.
I thought because like before my burnout, I was already a bit down and I was like between 80 and 100 followers per day, something.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm going to go down to like 50 or 30. That was my fear, was like 30. And I'm like still at 100.
No way. Like, what? How are you tweeting every day with your scheduled tweets?
No, yeah, I have my scheduled tweets.
But no engagement.
I'm like literally not on Twitter. Like, and I opened it for the first time like this weekend, and I looked and I like, shit, I had a couple of tweets of like 2K likes. I was like, shit, maybe I need to be more of a asshole rock star if I want to succeed on this platform. Maybe that's the key. Ignore everyone. So like, but like that's like a relief to know, and that's gonna be, again, I still want to do my course update. Have made no progress on it, obviously, but I'm like, this should go in my update. I'm like, because I wanted to talk about burnout, but now I'm like, here's the strategy if you burn out, if you want to avoid burnout on Twitter, here's the strategy that you do to maintain your momentum. And I'm like, this is going to be like awesome content that nobody talks about. And yet everybody talks about burnout. Like everybody, I mean, a lot of people who buy my course are like, they're afraid it's going to take too much time. They're afraid of burning out. So now I have first-hand experience. Yeah, you can still grow, So yeah, that could be a cool update.
Have you moved to Brittany yet? Or is that on hold too?
So that's given up. We gave up.
Why?
That was a big part of my stress too, because basically everybody's putting their houses and apartments on Airbnb, and there's almost no long-term rentals. And so we realized the only way to move there is to buy, but we can't buy right now. We can't afford to buy. So we have no choice. We have to stay here. That's it.
I'm hoping that I can come and see you soon.
Yeah, I want you to come. I really want you to come because I realized also one thing is that I don't have any friends. That's why I'm breaking down. I don't spend time with friends. And I want to, and you're my friend, and I want to spend time with you.
I just need to charge my laptop because it's gone from like 60 to 20 in this 20-minute recording. Baby.
Oh, wow. I'm making that laptop hot. Turn on the fans. Dago's coming. James will see this in the edit. You're right, mate. I'm with me mum. I'm taking care of me mum because she broke her foot. And we're watching the telly. Awkward. So I slid in some jokes while you were away. You can watch them during the edit to have a good time.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, you were talking about how you had no friends.
I said I had you and I had a few other. But I was saying mostly I want to spend time with you because I feel like I need to spend time with friends instead of just like working. Because that's also, because that's a vicious cycle. So because I feel alone, I feel I don't have any support system. And I stay alone by working instead of making friends and having kind of like a bigger support system over time.
I definitely am very grateful to my ramen club friends. That's something that my friend Charlie started, and we basically meet up every Tuesday and every other Saturday. So I have a group of people that I can go and see every single week, and they're like taking interest in my project, or I can just go there and just chat for hours about stuff. And like having actual friends that I can go and see, that's helped me a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna absolutely come and see you. I'll text you and I'll come to Lille and you can show me around. We can have some beers and.
Cool. So now I want to know about Brazil that you went to.
Yeah, I've had a crazy couple of weeks or months. I've not recorded Indie Bites in maybe 2 months. I had a big backlog and I was just sort of putting them out, and I ran out of my backlog for the first time. I've got one, but it's not that great. Since then, I've not recorded that. I've not done the Lemon Squeezy podcast. JR went on holiday, and then when he came back, he's just been busy, so we haven't found a time to record that, which is a little bit stressful for me because that's like my main recurring income is that podcast. And now I'm not getting it at the moment. So that's stressful. But I have been doing weekly episodes of Uncensored CMO, my big client. Remember we spoke about at the very start, getting this video client. It is now just happening every single week.
Oh, now it's weekly. So now it's like weekly, a 7K a month gig or something?
Exactly. 6K a month.
You're loaded now. Wow.
Well,
awesome.
We said that I was aiming for a goal, which is the thing I wanted to get, and I got the thing. And that was my treat for making it happen. So it's good. And it should go on for the next, at least the next quarter. Hey, it might happen the next one. This is the first time we're going weekly to sort of see how it works out for the podcast. But it's been great, but it's just very busy. There's another person that has joined the team who is booking in recordings. So we're like, I had one yesterday, I had one today. We're just getting really far ahead. But part of that, John, the client, messaged me and said, can you be in New York next week? It was a couple of weeks ago. I was like, the thing is with New York, I've been there quite a few times and I don't love it. It's too busy. It's too much. It's like really fun the first time, second time, and it's like exciting. But then I just find it a lot and I prefer London. Okay. So when he said, do you want to come to New York? I was like, how many recordings have we got? If we can get in 3, 4, maybe even 5 recordings, let's do it. Because this is also the first time I've traveled with all my camera equipment. Before we were just doing recordings with just audio, but now I had to... So I was nervous about it. But what we decided, we were going to do 2 recordings, and I flew out on the Wednesday and came back on the Friday. And it was like booked on the Monday. So I had 2 days to figure out how I was going to transport all my gear. So I was like running around shops, Facebook Marketplace, trying to get equipment that would fit inside a case that I could travel with.
Yeah, kind of like foam and shit, like in cases,
And then the week after, he was like, oh, there's a conference in Brazil and there's a couple of guests we really want to get. And this has been discussed for months, but I didn't actually think it was going to happen. And then it happened really quickly. And I was quite nervous about going to Brazil because it's the other side of the world. I've heard it's quite dangerous and I was carrying like a lot of equipment. They pay for my flights, they pay for my hotel. And I was like, I was nervous, but it was an opportunity. Let's take it. When I was out there, I flew out Wednesday to New York, did a recording on Thursday, flew home on Friday, like late Friday, had Saturday at home, then flew to Brazil on Sunday and flew back Thursday evening into Friday. So it was like a mad couple of days, a week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, like, talk about carbon footprint. Dude, like, it's like crazy.
But when we went, Dago, I had basically 3 days in a hotel room in a conference center, and I had 1 day free. We only did 1 recording in Brazil. We had 3 that we were meant to do. We only did 1. But this last day, the day we were flying home, I just had a free day. I was on my own, and like the Brazilian team were working, and I was like, I don't want to go out and do the touristy stuff in Rio on my own. So I hired a tour guide for the day. Yeah, but I just Googled guide online, paid him £250, and he just took me around all of the sites, like the Christ the Redeemer statue, Sugarloaf Mountain.
I never thought of doing that. That's a cool idea.
It was so good. I was so happy I did it because if I flew all the way to Rio and only saw a hotel and a conference center, I would have been annoyed. But one thing that shocked me is they speak zero English, like zero.
Yeah.
90% of people. And so like in restaurants, it was really hard to communicate. And my like phone signal didn't carry over and like I couldn't buy data enough of it.
Okay.
So I couldn't order Ubers. I couldn't like use Google Translate. So it wasn't a massively fun experience without my phone, but I was very pleased I did all that stuff on the last day. And it made me really happy to be back home. I was so nice when I came home and I could all my home comforts and
it's so funny. Safe. I love how different we are. Like when I come back from travel, I'm like, fuck, I wish I was still there. And you're literally going to New York and the next day, oh, it's good to be back in good old London. Oh yeah, I'm home. Like it's so funny. Like you're like a hobbit.
I've become you
live in the Shire. You live in the Shire and you don't want to leave the Shire.
I've become such a homebody recently. I used to love traveling and all the opportunities that I could get through work. I rarely pay for my trips, and I've been to some pretty fucking cool places, paid for by work. And like when I was younger, I loved it. I'm not exactly old now, Dago.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're still kind of young. I mean, you're like in this shitty age where you're nothing. You're not young and you're not old. You're nothing.
I'm nothing. But yeah, so I get homesick, and when I get home, I'm happy I get to do those things, but also really happy to be at home. And it's like I'm dragging like equipment around everywhere. It's not like I'm going to a country to just relax. There's no
but you can talk to girls and pretend like you're like a war journalist or something with all your equipment.
War journalist, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much me. I'm struggling generally with other stuff. I'm like not feeling.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna ask, because you sounded good. You sounded like you got shit under control. So how is it going? With like productivity, working, shit.
Struggling. I was sort of thrown off with time the last couple of weeks, and I thought when I got back, I'd come back like, oh, I'm gonna catch up with everything, but I haven't. I've come back feeling really down and miserable, and I don't quite know why. And like I've got so many deadlines, I'm falling behind. Clients are like, where's this work, where's that work? And I don't know, I'm feeling quite good today, but generally just not quite with it.
Are you making good progress with the getting free of debt? I assume so.
Yes and no. I definitely made a good dent into it, and now I've got this. I'm basically paid quarterly by this client. The traveling costs a lot of money.
Even to you, even if you weren't paying the main things?
Even to me, like paying for food and like Ubers to the airport, travel.
Yeah, that's always more expensive,
So I probably spent around about £1,000 on the trips, like on various bits. Okay. The lemon squeezy thing is it's a bit flaky, and now I'm a little bit worried. JR's always been so good, but I'm struggling to pin him down. Maybe I'm not being as proactive in booking guests for that recording. So I don't really know. I'm like slacking on some other work where I'm just not hitting the deadlines, and that's a struggle. So like I'm not being paid for that stuff, and I've had a lot of stuff that's been paid for in advance that I'm still trying to catch up with. So yeah, it's not quite all there at the moment, and I'm sort of relying on the fact that I've got this one client that pays me a lot, that when I get paid the next invoice, it's going to see me through for a few more months.
And you think it's going to help you clear a bit more debt over time? Or
Yeah. Well, I've in a few months' time. What am I? A month and a half into the Indie Bites thing. In like 4.5 months, I'll have another big payment, another 6,000.
It's like 3 payments or something, or 2.
Two 6,000.
Oh yes, it's going to be a big one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I still get like people buying wallets. I did £800 in April.
How many? I mean, I'm. Let me just guess. I would say $800.
Yeah,
or 600.
In April, yeah. I've only saw one thing in May. It's for £60. So
yeah, but like it's okay. It's like in April that was 800.
£800. Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. I'm fine. I don't know. I need to put more effort into it if I'm going to grow it a bit more. Yeah. Like the actual marketing side, because a lot of my traffic was coming from Twitter actually, but I don't want to rely on Twitter.
Feels.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, let me know how you feel next week about recording another episode. I've enjoyed it. It's been good catching up. We don't want it to be just, and we'll chat off air about me coming to see you. Maybe we can do it sooner rather than later.
yeah, I'm like, it was good, like, chatting again. So I
Yeah.
also want to play FIFA with you. Or
Oh
something.
shit! Yeah, we should do that. Absolutely. I'll text you and we will play FIFA. Cool, man. Let's wrap it up and I will do the intro if I remember how to do it. Thank you for listening to this episode of This Indie Life. Hope you enjoyed the chat between me and Dago. And if you want to watch us instead of listen, a reminder that the pod is on YouTube. That's all from me. Stay indie. James out.